Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide where we review all the shows and movies that get released on streaming right here at the LNN, the Latiners Network. And of course, it's ready as always to talk about all these shows and set you up for what's coming out actually in the next couple weeks because we will not do a show next week. We'll explain in a minute. So we'll give you 2 weeks worth of releases so you can create your very own watch list. Always with me is my co-host, live from Houston, Big Bro himself, el Señor Jaime, aka Chewy. What's going on?
Hey, brother, what's going on, man?
Chewy's very excited because he saw me get to eat my Pop-Tarts for breakfast. That's always an exciting moment. But he's also going to go to Comic-Con, and there's not much coming out this week, which is why we're going to bypass next week's show. Chewy's very excited. Going to see a lot
I
of
think
cool
they
shit.
purposely said we're not sending anything because everyone's gonna be in San Diego except for you.
Apparently, everyone's, and what's coming out, it's already been reviewed, so...
Yeah.
But whatever. Either way, whatever. It is what it is. We get a little break. This is a great week to catch up on other stuff you guys haven't seen or jump on some other shows because trust me, there's not a lot coming out this week. Barely anything at all. So that's a good thing for you behind or whatever. Try a new show and all. We'll talk about some of these in a moment. But as always, we're excited. Pop Tarts, yummy, chewy, Comic Con, great. But
Delicious.
it ain't all gravy. It's not all gravy. We do got some
Uh-oh.
sad news.
Uh-oh.
So we
R.I.P.
have special in memoriam today.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Very sad news. The passing of one Lalo Salamanca, who went out brave,
With
like a
the smile.
champ, with the champ, of course. Very sad to see him go. He's a great character. Of course, he's talking about Better Call Saul in the part one, well, first episode of the final season, part two. I don't know. It's kind of a mouthful. We're not going to talk about Better. Wait till the end. Talk about Better Call Saul. We all know it's great, but I would say it was a great first episode. Chewy, I think you agree. It was a lot of good shit in there, and
It's a good series, period,
great
man. I
series.
mean,
And
sets.
it's surprised how things went down that first episode. Right, with a lot of going down. I did not see that coming this early.
Well,
I
well,
mean,
it's,
it's
it's
coming,
episodes that. I mean, when
right? But I
it's
mean, I didn't think the very right off the gate. Okay, boom, there he goes. I figured a few more episodes before that gets
I mean,
resolved.
in episode six, R.I.P. Howard, and now it's episode seven, R.I.P. Lalo. I mean, what's
Right.
next?
Yeah, and apparently they've always been around the Breaking Bad show. For if you guys who've seen this episode, know what we're talking about. But yeah, so it was a great start. So yeah, we'll talk about that in 4 or 5 weeks when it ends. But that being said, there is one show that did end. I want to go back and revisit real quick, and that's on AMC, who's been really doing really well lately. And that's This Is Going to Hurt. It's a show that you brought to my attention.
Hmm.
And I'm not big on medical dramas. At all, and I don't know how many get released. I don't think that many, but I know back in the day it
I
was
mean, we've had a history. We have ER, we
just
have
ER,
Grey's
Grey's
Anatomy,
Anatomy, but I mean like recent
Chicago
releases.
Hope,
Yeah.
St. Elsewhere. I mean, like I said, this has been going on since the
Oh
80s, these
right,
medical
yeah, of
dramas.
course. But just recently, I guess I don't get into them, so I don't know. So whatever. But I watched it. It was a very, it's. I gotta say, it's very good. It's a very well done. I think it's a very dark comedy, a lot of fourth wall breaking stuff, which really works. And
Hmm.
about a doctor who's dealing with, he works in the maternity ward, gynecology, I guess.
OBG,
Yeah,
oh yeah, well yeah,
OBGYN, is that right?
obstetrician gynecologist, yeah,
Yeah.
OBGYN. But the way I think there's a funny line in episode one. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. They had a term for it. It was twats and something.
Uh,
You
yeah.
remember you said it.
That was like
It was
6 weeks ago, but
not a nice way of calling babies and vaginas. So it was like twats and runts, or yeah, twats, runts and twats, something like that. We call it.
yeah, and it's like a public, was that public hospital? Is that the right word?
I would say it's well, I
Government
mean,
funded.
it's a
Yeah,
hospital.
it's a
Yeah, it's
hospital,
coming
right?
from the
It's not a
hospital.
private
So
hospital. Yeah, yeah,
yes, and so obviously not for profit, so they deal with the financial issues of trying to make decisions on patient care and what to fix and what they can offer, right? So it's not meant to be one of these high end private top of the line facilities.
right. And this guy, he's dealing with the pressures of that, and his life outside. He's gay, and his mom doesn't approve, or she doesn't know. I forget. Um, and I think it do. I don't know if other ones have done. They may have. I just haven't seen it. But a drama that really deals with the pressures of what these doctors see on a day-to-day basis and what it could lead to, right? Which is a true statistic. I don't want to say anything, but I think I'm talking about what
Mhm.
happens to some of these doctors and how frequently it actually happens. And that episode 6 was like, whoa, hello, I did not see that coming when that happened. I was like, wow. So it's a
Mm.
real hard hitting show, but still connect. Somewhat keeps it light. Very good. This is a high recommend for me, Chewy. That was a good call on your part.
No, great, Ray written, the main actor. We've seen him even keep that Q
Q
in
and
the
Bond.
reboot Bond series, remake Bond series, what do you want to call it? He's a well known British thespian, but I mean great casting because he just I'm not sure if he has a comedic background, but he has such a dry wit to him,
Yeah.
and when he's breaking that fourth wall, it's like you can't help but just laugh out loud because it's funny, right? He's talking what we're thinking at many
Exactly. Yeah.
moments.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really good. It's only 7 episodes, so it's nice, short, concise. So very well
Yeah,
done. A good recommend on that one. I think this was a BBC show, if I'm not mistaken. I
I
think
believe so.
brought to AMC. So good stuff. You guys should definitely check that one out. This week's releases. Let's start with a movie I know Chewy didn't watch, but I did because I can't help myself because it's
You might be
zombies,
surprised.
and that was
Oh
your
no,
thing.
I don't want
Ah,
that. That
yeah,
would be
yeah, yeah, I
nice.
thought so, Chewy. So, it's my jam, if you will. So it's Malzanidos, or Valley of Death in English, a Spanish movie. It's about, obviously, it takes place in 1938, so we're, right in the eve of World War II and the Civil War in Spain, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a couple of factions that are kind of get mixed up, and now they're trying to survive because apparently there's a zombie outbreak due to Nazis experimentation. So they've kind of they created these zombies and dropped them in a certain area, and now this band of military and rebellious groups they're trapped, and they try to obviously escape and survive. Better than I thought, to be honest with you. Not bad. It's a zombie film, so let's keep it clear. I don't expect much, but the zombie action is cool. It's kind of well done. It's very well paced. I mean, it's not going to blow you away. It's not adding anything new, bring nothing new to the table. The zombies are fast moving, which I always prefer. Unlike Walking Dead, it doesn't, there's no weight when they can never keep up with you. This is not the case here. So, and added a war element to it. I enjoyed it. It actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Subtitles and all. I know people hate to read, and it is what it is. But it's a mild recommendation. I mean, it's not gonna blow you away, but if you're into the zombie genre, yeah, give it a shot. It's not too bad. I know it ain't Chewy's thing. I get it. But I know it is Chewy's thing. It's a good old documentary on Netflix, because Netflix knows what's up when it comes to documentaries, and that's DB Cooper, Where Are You? A documentary based off the infamous, notorious, and ultimately became legendary figure skyjacker who stole 200,000 back in 1971. I got that right. And
Uh, 71, 72,
72,
right about there.
long, long, long time ago, and jumps out of the plane with the money, parachutes out, never to be heard from again. And it's from there a ton of conspiracy theories and et cetera, who's involved, the military, CIA, all this other stuff. And it's actually a defocus on the investigation that even today, or at least up to when it was filmed, investigation people still going on, right? Particularly this one guy who's been studying for the last 10 years thinks he figured out who it is, and of course he's trying to get that through, and now there's still this online community about this. Very fascinating stuff, too.
Online, there's a DB Cooper con.
Well, yeah, there's I mean,
Good lord.
yeah, it's amazing. This guy who back in the day it made sense because it's 1971, it's different times, but like people just you have to applaud. You give credit's due. This guy steals money, jumps out of a plane. Who does? It's like James Bond shit, right? And people just loved it. It was T-shirts and all being made, and people were like kind of rooting for him. So a modern day, at least at that time, Jesse James, excuse me, Billy the Kid kind of deal. Again, that notoriety, but at the same time, fame. Chu, what are your thoughts on this? Four episodes, right? 4 episode docuseries.
Yeah, but Alex, it was okay. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, there were parts that were very, very interesting and fascinating because they bring in different aspects and different theories and different people who've been investigating for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And even make a good case for who they thought was DB
Mm-hmm.
Cooper, or technically Dan Cooper, because the B was put in by the media, which they kind of explained it.
Yeah.
That was another myth, right?
Done an error. I think journalists messed up and said
Yeah,
DB Cooper instead of D Cooper.
yeah,
So these things are just stuff. But I mean, there's
and it's
little nugget
stuff.
that you learn about that because I mean, I'm not saying I was well versed in the life of DB
Yeah.
Cooper. I
Mhm.
mean, he's part of the social zeitgeist. He's been in a lot of movies. Yeah, Loki did it in last year, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when you're like an homage, when they make an homage, a reference to it in a current Marvel show, you know that this has been going on, and so there's obviously you see that how it happens, and you just a lot of people are like what they're referring to.
Yeah.
So it's grown to ridiculous
Yeah.
proportions as far as the level of fame. 50 literally
50 years
almost
ago.
50
Right.
years
50 years, yeah.
later.
It's been 50
Yes.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah, to the
22, yeah,
day, to the
21, yeah,
year,
71, 72.
51, 50,
Yeah,
51. What a long time, right? He's still
yeah.
a name. They're still being shown in there's movies and books, documentaries all over the place. I get it.
Mm,
But I like it. You're right. It was fun. It was good. It should have been the 3 episodes, I
yeah,
thought, not the 4.
maybe.
But it was
Yeah.
interesting and to learn about. If you're not familiar with DB Cooper, is actually a pretty cool watch. I think you understand who he is because I asked a friend of mine. He's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "But he's young." I'm like, "Okay, well, I get it. That's not like, oh my god, it's egregious, right?" He's like,
Tell him
yeah.
see
Oh, I
Loki.
said a thing in
Episode
Loki. I was like,
one.
oh, that. He was like, yeah, it's a real life thing, and he thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, so it's an interesting documentary. Well done. I think it's not gonna blow you away, but it's not bad. So I still recommend, particularly if you're unfamiliar with that story, because again, it bears weight today. If it does, it's surprisingly, DB Cooper Khan. Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's sad or interesting. I don't know, to be honest with you. Probably sad,
Yeah,
right?
maybe a little bit of
Let,
both.
let,
And it's no
I
Comic
mean,
Con, I'll tell you
let it
that.
go, guys. Let it go, dude. It's not gonna happen. If there is like DB Cooper, he's dead by now. I guarantee you that. So either way, Solo Opposites on Hulu is the next one up. I don't watch the show, so true. I'll let you kind of talk about this one. Season 3, right? We're talking, right?
Season 3 is a creator
Rick and
of
Morty.
Rick and Morty. Some of the voices,
Yeah.
obviously, within the show. And I will say that this show, I think, has found its lane, its niche, right? Or niche.
Yeah.
Where season 1, obviously the guy is still writing Rick and Morty, so maybe it was a lighter version of Rick and
Right.
Morty,
And that's what I
right?
felt when I first watched the
Uh,
first year. I was like, eh.
yeah, because the voice, it's hard to get away from that
Yeah.
voice. And you hear that voice, you think, Rick Sanchez. You don't see this character. And you're like you're confusing the two and what's your expectation. But now season 3, it's found its lane, and it is hilarious. This season is probably the best season
Okay.
to
That's a
date.
good thing. Yeah.
They found what works for them, and how to get away from Rick and Morty and make it its own unique show and its unique take, right? Starting from the intro. And I'll give you an example. In episode 3, they have the standard intro. It's basically an explanation from a planet. It could explode. It's a man with a pupa to Earth, blah, 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 blah. And he's always bitching and complaining. And it's funny because in this episode, they ended episode 2 in a line. They make, speaking of waiting in lines, Comic Con, they make waiting announcements. I've been the things of waiting lines is the thing, right? And so they over exaggerate it. But while they're in line, instead of going through the intro, they go, "Hey, I got the intro on my phone," and they actually watch the intro on their phone as
That's
they're
pretty
waiting
funny.
in line. So they, like I said, it's found its moment, it's found its humor, it's found its way to how to make it funny and relevant. And so I think this is the best season to date out of the
Okay.
3. And I think it knows what it is. It's interplaying another little story as far as I think if you saw season 1, sorry, they had this another subplot of where they miniaturized a bunch of humans, and they kind of created this little kind of like hamster wall wheel thing, but with humans. And so they played with that element, more in season 2, and obviously going into season 3. So that's an interesting aspect. That was probably the best part of season 1, was looking
Yeah.
at that environment and that storyline. But it's been great. It's funny. It's funnier now than before, and definitely, if you're into it, you know what I'm talking about. So I'd keep
Yeah,
watching
like I
it.
said, it's definitely meant. I mean, if you like all those kind of shows, whether it be Futurama,
Mhm.
Simpsons, American Dad, whatever, etc.,
Yeah,
etc.
social
Right.
satire.
This will be up
Yeah.
your alley, right? Rick and Morty, obviously, which is fantastic. God, when is that coming back? Jesus, it's been like 10 years since that show's been out. It's felt
Well,
that
I
way.
mean,
I know it hasn't.
I will say, and one of the things I'm excited for, I'm not going to see this because it's going to be ridiculously long to get in. And But they are having a Vindicator screening at the
Oh, really?
con,
Oh, wow.
and they go ballroom Friday, the Friday or Saturday at 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh man! But when you see anything Rick and Morty, people are lighting up. So forget it. But I'm not doing it. Not
I
gonna
do it.
happen.
But either way, neither here nor there. But yeah, so I love me some Comic Con. I gotta go next year. Next show on the list, I don't know if you saw this. I had some mild interest, so I checked it out. Good family show. That's Kung Fu Panda, The Dragon Knight, based, of course, of Kung Fu Panda. Jack Black returns. I think he left, the franchise or whatever in the third movie, which I didn't see. But he's back. I did check this one out. It's good. Solid, about what I expected. I've been watching with the family, so I've only seen a couple episodes. But it's good animation. It's funny. You know, if you like Kung Fu Panda, there's no reason not to watch this. Be honest with you, it's pretty good. And it's I was thinking it would be individual stories, like 25 minutes a pop. It's actually one long narrative story, which is interesting. Enjoying it. It's cute. It's funny. It's a good family stuff too. I'm not sure if you're a Kung Fu Panda guy or not.
No, sir, no kung
I didn't
fu.
think so, but it's good. I don't want to spend too much time, but it's good. I enjoyed it. It's good family fun. I guess everything those family shows every so often. Disney can't hold them all, right? Last one here. Not a family show. One I had a very short leash on. Not boobage type level leash, but still a short leash. Resident Evil Netflix. Because let's be honest, and I said this last week, when has there ever been a good Resident Evil project aside from the video games? Never have we gotten a good Resident Evil movie, or even an adequate Resident Evil movie or show, or whatever, animation or otherwise, at least in my
And yet
opinion.
they continue to churn them
Turn them
out,
out
dude.
because you never know. Hey, maybe this is the one. This is the eternal hope in all of us. Maybe this is the one that puts it over the top, that brings validity, a name, and a positive name to the Resident Evil franchise, which it deserves. I love Resident Evil, the games. So, Chu, I'll let you go first on this one. Yay or nay?
It's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting complete movie like cheese, right? Ridiculous plot lines, ridiculous monsters, blah blah blah. No connectivity to video games or anything we've seen before. And so I was pleasantly surprised that it was not as bad as I thought. Right? It's got some interesting elements. They tie in the original, the very first movie into this show, and so it's not this standalone kind of start over. There's a point and maybe enough explanation to say that it's relative. Now it's not related to all the movies because the movies just went in ridiculous directions, just for show factor and anything else. But I think the very original one where we started in Raccoon City with the outbreak and everything on the ground, and they tied to that and explain it and kind of take it from there. But the focus is on this story, these characters, two timelines
Yeah.
before pre-release of the virus, so 2022, and then 2036. I would see 14 years after what they call the end, right? Because obviously that was the end of civilization once the virus got out. And so, like I said, very interesting take, a good mesh of exposition, of flashback to the key events, and now to how this character is trying to figure things out and maybe try to make things better some way somehow, and save humanity. I'm halfway through and I'm enjoying it. Right? I mean, I say not the greatest of shows. It's probably better than the movies, which I don't not saying a whole lot, but if they make 8 movies, and you get one good show, okay, I'll take the show.
All right. Agreed. It is better than what we've seen before. The bar is very low,
But
right?
and it was
To be fair.
it's way better than the animated version that we saw. That was just like, no, it was just
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
hot
It just
mess.
wasn't. It just wasn't good. So yeah, it's better than.
Yeah,
Like I said, I agree. It's better than probably mostly everything from Resident Evil. Maybe everything from Resident Evil, aside from the games, of course.
yeah, of course.
Does that mean it's good? I would say no. You're right. There's two timelines going on, right? With these two girls, the sisters, and the father, of course, who works for Umbrella. If you guys know the
Hmm.
property, know what I'm talking about. And with the two girls, the pre virus whatever outbreak is more interesting than the other timeline, which is the current timeline, I guess, when one of the girls is grown up and it's just one chasing after another, right? It's like, who cares? I don't know what the hell's going on. The world building is terrible. It really is really bad. Eh, I'm watching it because this is the only show that got released this weekend for the most part. So I'm like, all right. So I'm just kind of chugging through. I think I've seen 4 or 5. And there is, listen, if you're a video game fan, there's a lot of Easter eggs and tie-ins, whether it be Raccoon
Hmm.
City, which we've seen in the first film, whatever. There's the guy with the chainsaw with the mask we saw in Resident Evil 4, the GameCube
Hmm.
version. A lot of things, little nuggets like
Hmm.
that for the fans of the games. Like, oh, that's cool. All right.
Hmm.
I just really wish this franchise stuck to the horror roots, and it never has. Right, the game. This was a survival horror. The game and the movies, the mistake it made, it tried to make it like more action than anything else. Right, running around, people. I think Millie Jovovich, whatever her name is, she's multi-passing or whatever, dancing around, shooting everybody. It's out, it's exaggerated and all that. And I really wish it went back. And this one kind of does the same thing. It's actually a couple of cool sequences. I'll give credit's due. But yeah,
Yeah, no, there
a
are.
couple
I
cool
mean,
ones. There's one
one
in the jail
sequence,
cell, which
there's
is
one
pretty dope.
sequence in the sewer.
Oh
Well,
no,
the jail
no,
cell,
the
yeah,
the
but it's
sewer. I'm sorry,
also
you're right. The sewer. Yeah,
Yeah, the
which
sewer,
is good.
right? Where they're going
Yeah,
through and then they don't. I mean, so they build up that
yeah,
tension and they're stopping, and then all of a sudden
yeah.
the
That
humans
was a
start
cool
getting
scene.
picked
Yeah,
off, and
and it was well done.
yes,
But again, it's a little too much drama, not enough horror, and that's just a show. This is the series in general. Anything Resident Evil rated has never been horror, which is kind of a shame because that's what the basis of what the game was. But neither here nor there. But yeah, it's fine. Listen, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, if you liked any of the ones or things are okay, there's no reason not to watch this. Right? I
yeah,
mean, honestly,
yeah,
there's no hesitation. You should be watching it because again, it's entertaining at points. Not a great show. I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm gonna highly endorse it. But again, nothing really came out much this weekend. Nothing's coming out this week for the most part. Again, if you're a fan of it, I say go ahead and check it out. Just because why not? It's if you like any Resident Evils for whatever reason, yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't like this show. I can't see anybody saying this is worse than that. It's not, and not in my opinion. So yeah, so it's fine. Again, it's about why probably a little better than expected. But again, that's not saying much because I was expecting 1 or 2 episodes, boo bitch, I'm out kind of thing. So fine. Good job, Netflix, for exceeding those high expectations. Like, kudos to you. But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, next week. So listen, this is the whole reason, right? Because next week, one new release coming out next week. One, that's a movie on Netflix called The Gray Man. The Rooster Brothers, of course, from all the Marvel, Infinity Wars, Endgame, etc., who have yet to do anything good outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think they've had 2 or 3 films. The reviews came out already, and it's pretty mixed, which is about what I expected for a Netflix film, right? Like what I say, most of them are usually just okay. It's got a great cast though,
mhm.
right? Ryan
Yeah. I
Gosling,
mean, it's
Chris
got
Evans in
yeah,
here, Amy the
yeah.
Armas, of course, is coming up. Uncle Juana, good for her. Um, yeah, it looks interesting. It looks good. I'm gonna watch it. It looks good, but yeah, it's Netflix, so whatever. Let's be real, right?
Temper
Temper
expectations. Yeah.
expectations, but again, if it's fine, if it's better, what's the last Chris Hemsworth one? I forgot the name of that one. Spiderhead? No.
Yes,
But
Spider-Man.
if it's
Yes.
something a little bit better than that, I'll be fine with it. To be honest with you, but I'm not expecting great. But whatever, something to come out, nothing else to watch. Why not? But
Yeah.
in 2 weeks,
They have a Comic Con activation, by the way, so kind of like an escape room
oh,
type deal for the Gray Man movie. So they're promoting it
they're
at the con,
promoting it.
right?
Listen,
The day it comes out, literally the
I'm
weekend it
sure it's been
comes
one of
out.
those like kind
So
of like whatever, just kind of paint by numbers kind of movie. As I expect. Okay, this and that. But I'm sure if the action's okay and all that, whatever. It's gonna be entertaining. That's what I expect. Nothing great. But in 2 weeks we got a lot of stuff coming out. So it gives you guys time to catch up in these shows. This show that this is gonna hurt. The Old Man, which we'll talk about later, which is really good. What's that? The new Apple Plus show, Blackbird, really good. It's a lot of good stuff out there to watch, right? So this,
hey, and I would say, I know you're watching Westworld
right?
as I
Of
am,
course.
and I think episode 3 kind of gave us that episode 1 feeling again.
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
mean,
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
that's what I expected. I kind of wish it put like did a 2 episode premiere so and kind of give
yeah,
us bring it back up in 2 years, great, and then episode 3 good. Episode 3 goes back to its
yeah.
roots, and what I mean that as far as in the style and storytelling, right, where we had multi-timeline mystery, we have different elements and people. You don't know what's going on. You got to put. It's a big mystery box. It's a puzzle. You got to put it
Yeah.
together. That's what we liked about season 1, where they didn't just spoon feed you what was going to. You had to kind of think a little bit and kind of figure it out. And as you progress, you understood more and more on how everything was coming together, right? And I think with this episode, they're circling the wagons a little bit
Yeah.
and giving us that. And I hope they continue giving us that because obviously it's first conversation. You think, what are my possibilities? What are my theories about it? That this show is heavily relies on people, putting theories out there and seeing them come to
Right,
fruition, right? It's
exactly.
not a linear narrative, and it was never meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what Sundays and HBO. So it's a lot of stuff to you
Correct.
guys to go back and catch up on. But definitely, if you're a Westworld fan, you're probably watching. I assume. I'm making that assumption. Like just like Saw, if you're watching Saw, obviously watching it now. It's too late to get off it now.
Yeah, if you stop for whatever reason,
Yeah,
you're an idiot.
yeah, get back on it. But yeah, again, shows like this is gonna hurt. Old Man, Blackbirds are 3 shows I think you guys can definitely catch up on this coming week. We'll talk about those once they end, at least the last couple. But in 2 weeks,
Well,
a lot of
mankind.
stuff coming out in a couple weeks. We got on the 27th of July, so on a Wednesday, Disney Plus, Light and Magic. I guess
Industrial Light
Industrial
and
Light
Magic,
Magic, yeah,
ILM.
Island, basically, of course, George Lucas and etc. Star Wars. I guess a documentary, right? I guess, right? Based off.
documentary on basically. So it's one of the when you think of movie effects, special effects, well, not so much animation, but animation is related to
Sure.
movies, right? And design. I mean, ILM is probably at the pantheon of
Oh,
that
yeah,
pyramid.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they started out, humble beginnings to start with. I mean, it was created to put together George Lucas's vision for Star Wars, right? All the animatronics and the modeling and stuff to bring the movie creation, and obviously grew into the behemoth that when you look at the credits of every movie, with obviously most non-Marvel movies don't stick around for credits, but you see ILM,
Yeah.
ILM,
I mean,
ILM, right?
yeah,
And it
they
spawned,
set the
yeah,
groundwork for any other, special effects company and all that. That they were the standard bearer, right?
hmm
And they still are at the end of the day. So, and this may be the best Star Wars show
absolutely.
we're gonna get in the last 10 years. Uh, just saying. So that's on the 27th. On the 28th on Peacock, the Cock's getting a new show. You
Peacock,
know what? They had a new show, and that's called The Resort. I think it's a limited series. I don't know. Based off a book.
um,
I guess it's a couple in the honeymoon 10th anniversary go back to some resort in an island somewhere, and they
hmm
stumble across a mystery that happened 10 years before, some missing people, murders,
hmm
whatever, and they're trying to solve the crime. So kind of a murder mystery kind of thing. Looks interesting. I was like, let me see the
yeah,
trailer. Looks pretty good. On the 28th on Peacock. Netflix, Neil Patrick Harris, Doogie Howser himself, back in a show called Uncoupled on a couple weeks
correct.
Friday. It's like a comedy show, right, Chewy?
No, no, it's
It's a
a
comedy,
comedy.
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good comedy.
He's a
Yeah,
gay man who's
yeah.
just newly single, but at his age is trying to have a hard time getting back into the pool, the dating pool, I guess. Along those lines, it looks interesting. Well, I love Neil Patrick Harris. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I think he probably carry the show. Um, the 29th, same day, 3 shows that day. The second one, this is an interesting one. Chewy Paper Girls on Amazon Prime, which is
Yes.
based off a graphic novel, a comic book, I guess, right?
That is correct. There's gonna be a panel for this. I'm hoping
Okay.
to catch it, but like I said, we Amazon definitely puts up pretty good
Yeah, of
shows,
course.
right? And this is a time travel element to it, mystery, and the basic premise is these girls are in the '80s, right? So it's obviously our time that we're kids of the '80s. Some way somehow, and actually I haven't read the graphic novel, but they're able to travel to the future, right? And they're trying to get back, and they come across their older selves, right? And like I said, anything with time travel, I'm in.
I'm
At
interested, but
least
yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
I'm
Yeah.
more picky than other people with that stuff because it is with
hmm
some. I'm very curious, but it looks cool. It looks interesting. All right, I like different
Yes.
stuff, so it's an established property. So why not? Amazon Prime usually does pretty well. The last one,
hmm
Apple Plus. I guess the juice is flowing. Um, Surface. It's a new kind of
hmm
mystery drama, I guess. But the main character, she's gonna commit suicide, or whatever. Or she's going back, leading up to the events of her suicide, or something along those lines. If I thought got it from the trailer, it wasn't exactly clear on that, but it
hmm
looks interesting. It's Apple. At the end of the day, you say Apple Plus,
And
we're
it's
in.
Apple Plus. You say Apple Plus, okay?
Right.
Well, you piqued my
Exactly.
interest, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they are
We're gonna
not,
watch it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they're not keen. Obviously, then and now aside,
They've had a couple of
they're
misses,
not
very
keen
small, yeah,
upon,
like
yeah,
Roar, but for
yeah.
the most part, yeah.
Oh yeah, Roar
But
was,
they've
yeah,
hit
yeah.
so much.
For the most part, they hit rather than
Yeah,
they
they got
miss,
a lot of
and
credit with me,
so
as far as I'm concerned. Like a lot,
yes, yeah.
right? And what
hmm
what's the show? Slow Horses, or obviously Severance, of course, Ted Lasso, Foundation, Blackbird, which we're watching now,
hmm
among many other shows that we've caught on this. So yeah, I'm in. If this was like Amazon Prime or even HBO, I don't think I'd be as interested, to be honest with you.
Yes,
But
probably.
I'm hoping it's not. My phrase is like a kind of standard kind of thriller, and I'm hoping it's not like that. Like that, right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Apple Plus usually gives us something interesting and unique with the shows or interesting stories. So I hope there's one of them. But again, Apple Plus, that gets me. That gets the juice to flow. I'm excited about that. So that's 6 shows in 2 weeks. So we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. Chew will be out there living it up in Comic Con, doing his thing. Seeing a lot of crazy
Waiting in line.
costumes and panels and
Hopefully, I can get it to Game of Thrones,
Game
the
of
House of
Thrones.
Dragon
Yeah.
one.
So
Maybe Nintendo. Severance has a good one.
I assume Lord of the
Uh,
Rings is there. The trailer just dropped. That shit looks
I
fantastic. I
mean, Lord
mean,
of the Rings has Hall H
of
on
course.
Friday,
Yeah.
so not
Not
gonna
gonna
make
happen.
it.
Yeah, but still, listen, that trailer looked fantastic. It looks, the
I
production
mean,
was
like
incredible in that show. Woo,
yeah, yeah, look, outstanding. I mean, yeah,
amazing.
but they're heavily
Mhm.
promoting. They're tied in with Game of not Game of Thrones. Sorry, Friday starts with Lord of the Rings, and then it goes into Walking Dead stuff, right? Whatever, yawn. Saturday is a big day. I mean, Hall H is back to Hall H. There's Marvel, there's Warner Brothers, there's DC. Kevin Smith. Sorry. Hey, I'm looking forward to Clerks soon. I don't care. I like the trailer. Whatever. And so they got the big guns back in
Yeah, it
Hall
looks
H,
good.
man.
Like I said,
So it's good to
yeah,
see.
and it's been such a great.
Oh, probably, of course, Star Trek and
Well,
all that. I mean,
obviously,
that's
yeah,
all on Saturday at Hall H. The Hall H is like
yeah. So yeah,
people
there'll
are
be.
already in line for Saturday
Yeah,
Hall H, right? They're
I
already lining
guarantee,
up
and
for
there's a
that,
lot. I
man.
mean, there'll be a lot of traders popping up online, but it's been a really great couple of months, and I think this
Oh yeah,
this
yeah.
whole summer's been fantastic. Whether we Umbrella Academy, Stranger Things, The Boys. We got Lord of the Rings coming up in a month, next month, right? Soon followed by Sandman,
Sandman,
which looks
Lord of the
great. Lord
Rings.
of the Rings. I mean, they're just popping.
Yeah.
God, got shows and great time for us. It's really this is Christmas in the middle of the year, so it's fantastic. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. But that being said, Chewy, you have a good time out there. Everyone else, anyone's going to Comic Con, good for you guys. I hate you, just for temporarily. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we appreciate you guys tuning in weekly. Best recommendations every week. Tune in every Sunday around 11 to 12, and we'll hopefully see you in 2 weeks. Later.